with my husband Farmer and with Queen Bee and Worker Bee out of the greater Boston, Massachusetts area, and they were kind enough to let us come meet them and do an interview with them and ask a bunch of questions that everybody always has about building a house. So also before we start, I wanted to announce that Farmhouse from Scratch has just hired these guys, so they will be joining our team and contributing lots of articles and maybe even some videos and pictures of their beautiful home that they're building here. So you'll get to see a lot of them. Can you guys tell us about your house a little bit?
Yeah, so we wanted to go with more of a modern farmhouse, kind of colonial style. Colonial is very popular here in the greater Boston area, but we wanted more of a modern spin to that. And we had certain things that we were really looking for, which was a big farmer's porch, in addition to a nice big space downstairs in the basement, so that was a must for us. It's before the basement is finished, it'll be about 2,700 square feet. Once the basement is finished, it'll be more like 3,700 square feet, so it gives us that extra room for being inside during New England's long winters.
Yeah. Why did you guys decide to build yourselves?
I don't know.
We originally thought we would renovate the early 1900s colonial home that we live in now, and quickly realized that we would spend a lot of money with a contractor to maybe not get the results that we wanted, and we weren't finding anything else in the area that was within our price range in the same school zoning,
With the land that we wanted.
So there wasn't it was really difficult to find that perfect home for us. So when we started looking at pieces of land, after coming across a couple of blogs and other posts and things about people building from the ground up.
Okay, so you guys mentioned you did have a general contractor or several give you quotes.
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody what your house was quoted at?
The first one was quoted at $740,000 to finish it. That doesn't include the price that we paid for the land. We started getting quotes after we purchased the land and had a really set style and the size of the house and everything. So 740 was one of the more detailed ones, and then I had one over 800, and I kind of laughed.
Kind of spit our food out.
Was like, that's not going to work for us. So yeah, way out of our budget.
And what are you guys shooting to build it for yourselves?
We are, if you take the land out of it, we'll be right around 430, give plus or minus 10 or 15,000.
That's an awesome amount of savings.
Yeah.
That is great. Okay. Tell us about your timeline. When did you start planning? When did you start building? When do you hope to finish?
Planning started before we purchased the lot, because we did start looking at floor plans. So that was probably 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then we found a lot and started thinking that was maybe the one, and quickly decided it didn't meet our needs. And then just said, we'll put everything on the back burner until something comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And this lot randomly came up, a couple months later. I was driving by on my way to work, and I was like, oh, this is fine. So we purchased it July, 2 summers ago, basically. So it's been a year and a half since we really started on this piece.
Mm-hmm.
It took us from July until February to get our Conservation Commission signed off. With the holidays and everything, they take a lot of breaks and the boards don't meet. So that process was really long, working with the civil engineer and the town to get to a point where we could actually start getting permits into place. And then we didn't get our final permit signed off until May.
Yeah,
Was it
because
May?
we didn't really start doing, we cut trees down and leveled part of the lot at the end of June, early July. And we didn't really start digging into the earth until mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of interesting. It was almost like a full year of owning the lot before something really started going.
And hoping to finish
Hoping to finish by the end of the year this year, so within the next month and a half to 2 months or
Merry
so.
Christmas.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like the Santa Claus or Miracle on 34th Street,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more like Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
So what are you two's like roles in this? Are you more of the planner and he's more of the builder? Do you do everything together? what's your plan that way?
We have done a lot of it together, so we have worked very closely together in our regular daily lives and jobs. So we tend to take on this natural role of like, I'm the planner and this is how we're gonna do things, and the organizer and the researcher, and then he tends to be the doer. So worker bee fits for him. But he's also like the numbers person, right? So he takes on a lot of that role where he's got this really detailed spreadsheet of all of our expenses that we've spent already and where we're coming up on our budget basically. Like the original targeted, and then like, okay, well, we had to blast and drill, or drill and blast. So that added an extra $48,000 to our
That was unknown.
an unknown cost before we even really got into
pretty early
the
on in the
foundation.
stage.
Yeah,
Right.
early on. Yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow.
Sure. I'm sure. Well, I should say too, the reason they chose the bee names is because these guys raise bees, which is really
Yeah,
cool too.
Absolutely.
You don't have them here, right? You have them at your
No,
house
they're
right
not
now?
here. We'll move them over once the weather gets a little crummier. I know it sounds weird, but they stay in.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
tend
they
to be.
stay
Yeah,
in.
they
Yeah.
tend to stay in.
They're
So we got to
homebodies when
keep
it's
them
gross
cooped
out.
up when we move them over.
Yeah.
So we do. We have 2 hives. We've been doing it for a few years,
That's
and
a really fun
I'm
hobby.
pretty obsessed with it. So
That's
yeah.
cool. Very cool. Okay, so in what ways do you guys feel like you've been able to save the most money? Because you guys are looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars saved here.
Yeah, I mean, from what the general rule of thumb that we've been kind of let known from like your dad and other people is like, you know, a lot of GCs make that 20% margin, give or take. And it's been a little bit there, but we've been shopping, like we'd shop around, quoting out basically all the bids and not necessarily taking the best one, but the ones we're most familiar with, the recommendations from local people that have been using the same people for many years. That worked out great. I also think paying on time and early has saved us 1%, 2%, 3% across the board really. Like buying our own lumber, so not getting everyone else's percentage on top of that.
Yeah.
Also like our lumber guys, like working with people that are honest too. They'll be like, don't buy doorknobs from us, go to build.com and save money there. So that was huge. So we shopped around a lot of that stuff, the Wayfarers, the build.coms.
Yeah, we shopped. So for all of our bathroom hardware, like all of our sinks, doorknobs, we did one big shop. Wayfair does Wayday, which is like an Amazon Prime Day. I think it was back in the spring. So I did a lot of pre-shopping leading up to that, and built a cart. And when we checked out, the total was like $11,000 for like our tubs, our hardware, on the doors and in the showers, and I think we bought some lighting and stuff too, toilets, things like that. So basically everything we needed for those rooms. And then when we checked out with the savings, it was like $4,400. So we saved a huge chunk
Black
just
Friday
on
shit.
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Basically, that's
It's like
their
Black
version of Black Friday.
Exactly. So that was like pre-shopping, knowing what I wanted, knowing that we were going to get good customer service from somewhere, because we like purchased a tub and I was like, no, that's not the right one. After we had purchased it, we called them and they were still able to cancel that and
They're
send
pretty
us the
big
right
that
one.
they can
Yeah.
their return is pretty solid over there.
Yeah.
So that's Wayday.
Wayday
that's
Wayfair.
Wayday
Yeah.
for Wayfair. Build.com does a similar thing. So we saved a ton on that. We spent a lot of money having dirt and rocks removed. So we worked with the excavator to just find landscape companies that were willing to haul it away for us, because that was a huge part of the expense of drilling and blasting and excavating
Getting
for
it
our
out of here.
foundation. So in addition to that, we still had to have probably 300 yards of more than that backfill
800
brought
yards.
in just for like the front of our yard, so we can, and that's not including the loam we have to build on top of. So we actually looked around, and that was one of the things on Craigslist that we did succeed with, was free fill. So we paid somebody to deliver it, but it was $50 for a truckload rather than what would have been
Hundreds of dollars for
hundreds of
build-out.
hundreds of dollars for a truckload. because somebody, our excavator, was like, "Oh, how much did you pay for, all the fill that you had brought in here?" And we said, "Take a guess," and he goes, "I don't know, $2,000." And we were like,
It was like 400.
"It was like $400."
He's like, and actually, I mean, the other thing you have to be worried is sometimes the fill where it's coming from. Sometimes it comes from a big city. You might smell like gasoline, so you got to be sure that it's a reputable
clean.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy he was pretty
been
good.
awesome.
He brought one load and was like, we don't, I don't really like that load, so I'll wait until I get some stuff that I can send to you. So, people they're pretty like willing to work with you if you let them know what you're doing, and like, I'm just a owner builder,
Right.
Like, I'm not a contractor.
Treat them with the respect that you expect back. It's
Yeah.
some of these guys have a little bit extra kind of like machismo, but like if you get them like, listen guys, this is what we're trying to do, so like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's been a huge savings. And then we spent today on a huge part of the savings for our deck, the big farmer's porch. So we did splurge on the material a little, because the pressure treated deck would have been $1,700, but the Trex was what, $4,000 in materials, so that's a big cost difference. But we had it quoted, and what it would cost us to build it would have been close to $7,500 to have somebody else do the labor for us. And honestly, it wasn't difficult. It's a little time consuming, but it wasn't difficult.
Not a hard thing. Yeah. Okay. What advantages do you guys feel like you had before starting?
I would say, so we were truly blessed in the sense that his cousins are both architects. So that was a huge advantage for us, knowing that we had somebody who would give us not only a great set of plans and work with us on all the custom details that we wanted in the house, but also somebody to give us advice.
Yeah.
And honest advice too.
Yeah.
Honest advice that we knew that there's nothing in it for them. There's
Right.
like literally nothing in it for them other than the fact that they're family.
Yeah.
And that they just want to help us out. So that was a huge advantage that I'm not sure everybody has access to, but that could be any number of trades. So like, my dad is an electrical contractor. He was here to help us with some of that, and a good majority of wiring the house, but he also had other pieces of advice. So if other builders have somebody who's willing to help them out, or just give them advice, or even lay down a deck, you know what I mean? Like, that's a huge advantage. So that was one huge advantage for us, was the architect piece. And then I guess we can get into this a little bit with financing, but we don't have a mortgage on our home because it's fully paid off. So that's after investing and paying off the rest of our home. So that was a huge piece. So the financial piece for us was
a huge
easier.
advantage.
Yeah, it was a huge advantage for us, and we weren't, like, during that whole year where we basically didn't have anything happening here, we weren't sweating it that much.
Yeah, with the
you know
deadlines
what I mean?
and the
Yeah.
your brilliant brains.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Smart
it's super
brains.
smart, intelligent. No, I think just like our connections, like knowing people and being able to access them almost at any time. Yeah, like our cousins were great. We could text them and say, hey, instead of paying, $150 or $300 for a change order for like switching out plans, like okay, we'll just FaceTime and talk it over, which was kind of awesome.
Yeah. I'd say another huge advantage that was important to me was that we are so close to the rest of the community that we already live in and know everybody. We're literally 2 minutes down the road from where we live now. So if something happens, we can zip over here and, check in or talk to a contractor, or just,
Went to the store for them if you need something.
Right, or like, after dinner, he would come over and do some, put something up, or it just makes it a lot easier to be so close. So that was a big advantage for us as well.
Yeah. Well, and I will say too, even if you're not related to someone who's in a specific trade, that's something that you can build with people after you've started your process. You can meet other awesome contractors. As soon as that you find someone that you can trust and you feel like they're doing you right, then those are great people to ask. People like to share their information. It doesn't cost them any money. They love to share what they know.
Tell stories, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so talk to contractors that you find that are nice and that you feel like you can trust, even if you're not related to someone to begin with.
That is very true, because that was our excavator for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first piece of it, and he builds homes all over the area. I would say, so we've successfully used 3 of his contractors, so you know, subcontractors. So that has
Yeah,
worked out really
awesome
well.
or even like
connection that
Yeah.
you
he rented the dumpster for us, so we didn't have to pay a rental fee because they're not going to charge him a rental fee. We just pay to have it hauled away, so
And
that saves us money.
And that's
too.
someone you met after you started and you made a relationship
Exactly.
with. Yeah, that's great. What were you guys most afraid of before you started building?
Getting it done.
So more of a timing thing, basically.
Time, you know, money. Everyone's like, you're gonna go over budget, gonna go over budget, gonna go over budget, and even planning for going over budget. Yeah, eventually. I mean, we've never done it before, so it's all new.
Yeah.
So
I
probably
think
that.
I was really worried about like, being taken advantage of, but that doesn't seem like it's been the case at all. So I think like being smart about it, but also having faith in people that they just generally do want to help you out. I think you know, if you have a good sense with people, you can kind of sort that out. Just using your brain in a way.
Up until now, what's been the hardest part?
Getting the permits was challenging, but it wasn't as stressful as managing 3 different subcontractors all at the same time. So we just had electrical, plumbing, and HVAC here. And having all 3 of them at the same time was challenging. Managing that process and keeping everybody happy and getting everything signed off on time and everybody working around each other.
Okay, so we did already mention that you're building with cash, not financing this.
Yeah.
So there's some financing to it where we are using
Home equity
a
line.
home equity line because that's where our cash is.
Right.
It's in the home, but as soon as we sell that home, we'll be writing a big check and
Right.
paying that off.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that financing piece, but it's not going to be 30 years of hundreds of thousands of dollars added onto that piece. So
And it's actualized as soon as you move in, basically, because then you can get rid of your other home
Right.
and turn
Right.
that into
right.
An outside.
this. Yeah.
Right.
You guys have any good money saving tips to share? What you've been doing for the last several years to take care of your money?
Grocery shop. Save money on groceries. Don't eat out.
Don't eat out.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
there's just like what do you need to live with versus like what do you want to live with, you know? We haven't had cable for 10 years now, almost 10 years now, because we moved into our first apartment together and realized like we're never home. We DVR stuff that we watch sometimes and we're spending $120 a month on cable that we don't use.
Yeah.
Why do we need this? So we got rid of it and now we use digital bunny ears and
Apple
Apple
TV and
TV.
some Netflix.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
because everybody has internet anyways. So
Yeah.
so little things like that, right? Or, you know, to Craig's point, we plan a menu every single week and we grocery shop only to that list. And by the end of the week, our refrigerator is empty and we're actually like high-fiving each other
Yeah.
because the refrigerator's empty
Yeah.
and it's like ready
We
for a
didn't-
new week.
Yeah.
So just
Pretty
little,
efficient eating.
Yeah.
this might be extreme for some people, but we cloth diaper our babies.
We did that for a while too.
Yeah. I mean,
It
it
adds
doesn't
up.
always,
Oh,
it doesn't,
absolutely.
it adds up.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work, but those are just things that every day you can find little cost saving things.
Make
Just
coffee at home.
Make coffee at home. We don't,
So
you
much
know,
cheaper.
Oh yeah, because we started noticing that like the $5, $6, $7 at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or buying food for lunch instead of like just bring something with us
Yeah.
or making everything at home. It's like we literally are saving hundreds of dollars a week
Yeah.
just
Oh,
on
yeah.
that, and that
Yeah.
adds up very easily.
Yeah. The little stuff that you think isn't adding up, it really does.
It does
Over
add up.
time, it's huge.
I think it's crazy like when I talk to people that don't budget their life. I think it's crazy if people don't, just because like unless it's like they have indisposable income, sure, but like having like what's your budget?
Well,
So
a
that's why
budget
we-
really helps, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's good, and that's why for our budget for our house is like super detailed, so we know literally every cent where it's going.
Yeah. Which jobs are you guys hiring out, and which ones are you doing yourself?
We hired out most of the like external stuff, right, to get the house to a point where it was dried in. That wasn't something we felt comfortable enough with or skilled enough. We also have some really tall walls and roofs, and so I didn't feel comfortable I'm not going to get up there, and I don't feel comfortable sending him
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
So that wasn't something that we wanted to do. ourselves, but we will basically, once the plaster goes up, everything on the inside will be done ourselves. Like I said, we did have my dad come and help do the electrical. So that was
Basically all the finish. So
Yeah,
the
the whole
painting, the
finish.
floor, the tiling, the
yeah.
cabinets, all that stuff.
And then at some point we will finish the basement. So we will be doing that ourselves. So we'll be framing the walls and finishing the bathroom and.
What were the most important things you did to prepare yourself to build your house?
This course we took that was pretty good.
It wasn't called Plan Your House.
It was
was
sounded very similar to that. Yeah.
We did do
That's
that.
on Farmhouse from scratch, guys.
Yeah.
Plan Your House, the course, to
Right.
get yourself ready. Anything else?
After that, we didn't have to do anything else. It was
Oh,
great.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that.
No, I mean our research, like the planning, and they also like looking for lots of land too. Like that was important because if we had a small lot of land, it wasn't going to do. But we wanted at least an acre so we could have space to do what we wanted. So.
And you guys do have a beautiful spot. Seriously,
Yeah,
take it
fun.
from me. This is an awesome little nook back
Yeah.
here that they have. I love it.
Every time a contractor would bring up a term that we weren't familiar with, I of course wouldn't tell them. I'd smile and shake my
Pretend
head.
like you know what they're talking
and
about.
then I'd go Google it.
What the heck does that mean?
Right.
So it's a learning process along the way too. So like you can't know everything before you go into it. You just don't know everything
Right.
before you go into it because you haven't done it before. So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like learning on the job.
Yeah.
I remember when we were doing the plans, like on Pinterest we could find a lot of like, oh, that house looks cool, and you could like kind of get like the plans online if you bought, for like $100, and then talking to our cousins, they're like, don't do that.
Don't buy those.
Like
they're
even
really incomplete.
it wasn't even like, so we can do your house for you. It was more like, a lot of times it's for like one certain area and they won't match up there. Like you might get the exterior stuff, but the guts of it will be not to code or not matching everywhere where you are. So just be wary of that too.
Is there anything you wish you had done or known before you started building?
Yeah, 20 feet of granite underneath
Oh,
us. That would've been
I
good
bet.
now.
That would have been.
That would have been awesome.
Would it have changed? Would you have bought a different lot had you known that?
I think we might have budgeted our house a little bit differently.
Yeah, we might have had a different plan. It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Hard to put a basement in
Yeah.
if you know you
Might
have to go
not.
that much further or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Might have went up and out a
Or
little
just
bit
go,
more. or
yeah,
something.
just go up or.
What have been the biggest money wasters so far besides drilling and blasting? That's not a waste.
It's not a
though.
waste.
That's not a
It's
waste.
not a
It had
waste.
to happen. But what's been the biggest money wasters that you've seen?
Well, we have a pile of lumber sitting in the back, so you could consider that a waste because they weren't able to take it back. It had sat out like through too many rainstorms, so they weren't able to take it back. But we can still use it downstairs in the basement to frame that out. We've got to move it out of the,
We can move it down there.
weather.
Well, that's good. You can't think of
That's
anything.
re-
That
yeah,
means you
I
have
bought
Repurposing an
the
overage or
wrong
whatever.
bathtub. That was
Yeah.
kind of a waste because I don't know that we're going to be able to use it.
So if anyone's looking for a bathtub,
Yes. I bought a right-handed tub instead of a left-handed
Oh.
tub.
Yeah. What, if anything, has surprised you about owner building?
I thought I would be a lot more stressed out. I mean, I'm stressed out. Don't get me wrong. There are moments where I'm just like, I don't know if this is ever gonna end, but it will, But I thought I would be like, just like, can't sleep at night, like, mind just going too fast, But I keep telling myself like, one day at a time, like something's gonna get done one day at a time. You just take it one day at a time because you can't rush it. Every single step has to get done before the next. So you can plan and know that these are the things on your to-do list that still have to get done, but you just one day at a time.
Yeah. If you had to do it all over again, would you do it? Would you owner build again?
I think we would.
yeah, I think so.
We tend to be like, we like to be really hands-on with the things that we're involved in. Like when we got married, we did everything for our wedding. We catered our wedding. We had we planned the menu and we
Grew our own flowers.
grew our own flower, like silly things, but I
You
loved
grew your own flowers?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
it. Was really, like, in hindsight, it was really fun. There were probably a couple
Yeah.
things that I would do differently,
Yeah.
but that's just from learning it, but I would do it all over again because we loved it so much and we had a lot of fun doing it. So I think the house will be the same thing. Like, we'll look back 10 years from now after we're done and we'll be like, hey, remember that time we had to drill and blast? And kind of chuckle about it and just be like, you know, like, I laid this deck with my my own hands.
Yeah.
This is like, I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
And
I
That
love
screw
that.
has my name on it.
Right.
type deal.
you know, so I think there'll be like a lot of pride there and just like we'll have stories with each other. So I think we definitely would.
Okay. Would you do anything differently?
I'd say it's kind of hard to stay right now until we're a little bit further, I think. I like where it's at now.
Feel happy with how everything's turned out so far.
Yeah, I think the only difference might be like spending more time here with the contractors. We both work full-time jobs, and that is great that our jobs are flexible enough to let us come and go, but I can't be here full-time, which sometimes drives me crazy because a contractor will call and be like, I'm going to be at the job in an hour, and I'm like, I can't leave work today. I can see you tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to be there tomorrow. So sometimes we miss each other. And if I had the opportunity to take more time off, like let's say I had saved up PTO, you know, like a lot of companies, I hear all these people that are like, oh, I have like months of PTO or weeks of PTO. That might be something I would do. So if you're planning to build, maybe plan that into your
Save some vacation.
life.
I was gonna say,
Save some
maybe don't go on
vacation
vacation
time.
this year. And
You know, and be like, hey, I got to take a week to build my porch, or I've got to take a week to be with the contractors inside, so I'm taking a week of vacation time.
Well, no, we're starting foundation, and I need to be there just in case we got to start drilling and blasting.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to get that over a
Then it
phone
might
call.
be
I want
a
to be there in person.
second job. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, these two, they have full-time jobs, so owner building with 2 full-time workers can be done.
Absolutely.
And children.
And small children,
And life. Just life.
Yeah. Okay, last one. What advice do you have for someone about to take on their first owner build?
I would just say
Plan
one
it
day,
out.
plan, stay organized.
Yeah, you can
Take
never be
it-
over-organized
right.
at this point. Like, you just really can't.
Take it one day at a time. Like, try not to stress yourself out by, oh, you know, like, this has got to happen and this has got to happen. Like, it's going to happen. Your house is not a short-term investment.
Right.
It is a long-term investment. So don't stress that, and also don't stress the small stuff. Like, if a wall has to go somewhere else or a pipe has to go somewhere else, it's not the end of the world. It will get solved. There's always a solution for something.
And I'd, like, money budgeting wise, I would definitely, like, round up, like, 10-15% above. And be like, oh, yeah, I know, but, like, no, but, like, really plan for that, because
Add it in there.
even if there's a $18,000 contractor, he's going to be like, oh, well, I didn't know I had to drill through a foundation. That's going to be another whatever, you know what I mean? So always know that it's going to be more than just whatever number they give you, just to be safe. And if it's the right number, great, you just save, you know, a couple $100 here and there. But yeah.
Well, thank you. This was
Awesome.
awesome. I'm so glad we could have this interview. If you guys haven't checked out the tour of their beautiful home, check that out too. So we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.